بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم ولعن أعداءهم. Responsibility number 4 towards the Imam of our time, عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف, in his occultation is to await his reappearance. Of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has tested and trialed this ummah with the occultation of the Imam of our time, عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. However, the true believers are those who await his reappearance day and night, every single day of their life, and do not lose hope in the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised the return of the Imam, and He's promised that He will save the humanity and the earth from all the corruption and from the inequity it will be in. And so they wait that day in which the Imam will return, and they do not lose hope in the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, this concept of intidhār, or awaiting the Imam, has been stressed on so much in the narrations of Ahlul Bayt عليه الصلاة والسلام, and the fadila and the virtue and status of those who await the Imam has been spoken about as well by the Imams. One example is in this narration by al-Imam as-Sādiq عليه الصلاة والسلام, in which he says, من مات منتظرا لهذا الأمر كان كمن كان مع القائم في فسطاطه. He says that whoever is awaiting the Imam for his return and dies while the Imam has not yet returned, it will be as if he was with the Imam in his tent, supporting him and protecting him. Why? Because as we know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when it comes to people's intentions to do good, He rewards them for the reward of that action, even if they don't actually do it. So long as your intention is to support the Imam and be with him when he returns, even if you pass away before that day comes, then you will be rewarded as if you were with him, supporting him on that day and in those days of his advent of saving this earth and humanity. Then the Imam continues and says, rather, لا بل كان بمنزلة الضارب بين يدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله بالسيف. Not only will he be given the reward of those who protect the Imam and as if he's with the Imam under his tent, but he will be given the reward of those who are protecting the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who are protecting him in war from the enemies. This is one of the virtues of those who await the Imam ajalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif, and this stresses this is one of our responsibilities towards him, to await his reappearance. In another narration, the Imam states and describes how this awaiting must be, that it must not be the awaiting of just sitting down and waiting for the Imam to come and to save the world and for you not to do anything about it in the meantime. Rather, the Imam says in a hadith of his, من سره أن يكون من أصحاب القائم أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. If it pleases somebody to be one of the Imam's companions, then what should he do? The Imam describes here. فلينتظر, then he must await. He must await his reappearance, of course. But while waiting for the Imam to return, وَلْيَعْمَلْ بِالْوَرَعِ وَمَحَاسِنِ الْأَخْلَاقِ وَهُوَ مُنْتَظِرٌ. While awaiting the Imam, he must act upon wara', which is abstinence from those things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forbidden us from, and mahasin al-akhlaq, the best of morals and characteristics. So while you're waiting, you're working on yourself. You're working on yourself first and foremost, as well as your family and community, which shows that your waiting is true waiting, that you truly want the Imam to return, and that you are truly striving to get closer to him and to prepare yourself to be one of his companions. But then the Imam says that he must await, and then he must act on these two characteristics, which is abstinence from haram, as well as good akhlaq and morals. But then he adds and reiterates again, وَهُوَ مُنْتَظَرٌ, that he does all this while keeping in mind that he is doing this while awaiting the Imam of his time. Having that in your intention, that I'm doing this, I'm working to be a better person, and I'm working to make the best companion of the Imam in myself and from myself. And then he says, فَإِن مَاتَ وَقَامَ الْقَائِمُ بَعْدَهُ, and if he were to die before the Imam arrives, and the Imam will actually arrive after his death, فَإِن مَاتَ وَقَامَ الْقَائِمُ بَعْدَهُ كَانَ لَهُ مِنَ الْأَجْرِ مِثْلَ أَجْرِ مَنْ أَدْرَكَهُ. That he will be given, just like the previous narration, he will be given the reward just as those who will actually live to see the day that the Imam returns in it and supports him. So our fourth responsibility towards the Imam is awaiting his return and showing that through our actions, as this narration explained, that some of those and some of the most important of those actions are abstaining from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forbidden, and showing the best of akhlaq and morals, all while keeping in mind I am trying to prepare myself to be one of the companions of the Imam, Allahu ta'ala farajahu sharif. And even if I don't reach that day, then I'll be resurrected with his companions because I had the right intentions and because I was working to support him on that day. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to do so. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.